All right, guys, here we are. Unit 4, Rome Notes. All right, so we have to start off with this legend or this myth, and it's the story of Romulus and Remus. Now, the story starts off with two different ways, but the most infamous way was that the god Mars is going to go down and visit a woman. And he goes down and they have relations, and out of those relations come twins. Babies, joyful news, wonderful. Except for the king, the husband of the woman that was visited by Mars, was not so joyful and so excited about these little infants. Well, so the king decides to get rid of the twins, and he sets them down in, he actually has a servant take the boys down to the river Tiber and send them on their way, away from the queen, away from the king, and away from any form of life there. But they get stuck on some reeds, and they are going to be saved by a she-wolf. Now, this is nothing special. This is just a wolf who's female. So the she-wolf is going to take them home, take these little infant babies, and feed these infant babies from herself, because she herself has just had pups. Now, these two boys are going to grow up with these wolves and have wolf characteristics until about the age of 6-ish, when they are eventually found by a shepherd. The shepherd is going to then take the boys from the she-wolf and is going to raise them as his own from there on out. The boys who still have wolf characteristics and traits, nothing physical, just personality traits, maybe, that about being clever, about being strong, about understanding the need to protect one's own. They're going to be thought of as very independent, and then they decide that they are very important and want to build a city along the river where they were found, which is an amazing thing. So both gentlemen are going to build cities, and it's going to turn into one large city. Now, this one large city needs a name, and unfortunately, they could not decide upon the name to name their city. So they get into a fist fight because they still have some of those ideas, some of those personality traits of the wolves, so they understand that power and strength come out of it. So they're fighting, and Remus is going to be killed. Now, we're not really sure how he was killed, but the legend does say that he was killed by his brother named Romulus. So then, as you can expect, the city is going to be named after the brother who is still alive, Romulus. So now it's Rome. We don't know if this is an accurate story. We do know that there was a brother or twin brothers named Romulus and Remus. We do know that they are going to start the city of Rome, but we have very limited evidence of exactly how it happened, because like most things from about 2,000 years ago, we are being told a story orally spoken. So over the years, it has changed bit by bit. We do know that a lot of the story is based upon this statue right here, and that statue will be replicated, reproduced for thousands of years, and Romans will fight to defend that ideal. Now, where is Rome? Rome, the city, is on the Italian peninsula in the middle of the Mediterranean basin. It's gonna be an isolated area. because around it has the Mediterranean Sea. It's going to have water because it's a peninsula, and it's also going to have the Alps to the north. This is going to isolate it in such a way that nobody can attack without giving themselves away for hundreds, almost 1,000 years. Now, the Mediterranean Sea does provide protection, isolation, and commerce. Now, commerce being the idea of buying and selling of goods. We're going to switch away from a barter system. We're not going to give things for goods and receive things for goods. We want money. We want gold. So the Mediterranean gives them that access. The Italian peninsula is going to be protected, and it's going to be so protected that nobody will sack or lay siege to the city of Rome or those major cities. The city of Rome, with its central location, is able to surround itself or control all of this area all the way around the Mediterranean because of its military, because of its ability to trade and buy and sell goods. Within the Roman Republic, though, we have to make sure that we have the right social class. We have to have our powerful nobility, our rich folk. We have to have the majority of our population, or the middle working class. And then we have to have our slaves. The slaves do the grunt work, and it's never based on race in this time period. Remember that we don't talk about slavery based on race until much later in history. Within this, we have to know who is a citizen and who is not. Patrician and plebeian men are always going to be citizens if they were born in Rome. Some foreigners are going to earn that classification as a citizen only if they can give something to the Roman Empire. As a citizen, you must pay taxes and you must serve in the military. This is the basic understanding of what a citizen can and should do. Now, once these decisions have been made, we have to understand where the laws of Rome come from. They are a democracy just like Greece, but are they just like Greece? Greece is a direct democracy where every single citizen must go vote every time there is a vote. But that became too much of a hassle if Rome is such a large area. So what do? They create something called a representative democracy. Now, a representative democracy is a democracy in which that I, as a plebeian, might vote to have a patrician vote for me and to vote as my neighbors would. So one patrician might represent 10 plebeians. And this again is going to be shown as a way of life. And we're going to have assemblies for our plebeians, our middle class people. And then we have the Senate, which is made up of 300 patrician men and 2 consuls. And what happens is that we have 3 structures in place to make decisions. The Senate, the patrician men, are going to keep changing things too often to fit their own needs. So the assembly of plebeians is going to be created to make sure that the patricians don't necessarily take over. Now, the consuls will only be in charge at the top of the food chain for a 1-year stint. They will be patrician men, but they have to be voted into office by members of the assembly. And as this evolves and becomes more and more complicated, we have to have it written down. So we're going to codify it. We're going to put it into a written record in order of importance as the 12 tables. The 12 tables are the legislation, the lawmaking, the laws that are going to be created to protect the plebeian men from the patricians taking too much tax money, taking too many liberties within the military, and allow the plebeians to have an equal say in what happens for and against them. So as we look at it, we have our citizen structure. Patrician men are still at the top. Our plebeian men and then slaves with no rights. But the patrician men are outnumbered by the plebeian men. The same goes for our government structure. We're only going to have 2 consuls, 300 in the Senate, and then 500 in the assembly. And as we look through this, the assembly of plebeians is still going to outnumber the consuls and the Senate of patrician men to ensure that the plebeians get a fair shot.